Let's separate Islam from the Muslims, just like we will separate KKK from Christians. Can we do that? Muhammad Jihad just pearly things on another clip. Let's roll the intro.
الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of the most merciful, most kind, and in nombre del más misericordioso y compasivo. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Rican Muslim. So let's talk a little bit about separating Islam from Muslims. You know, there's bad seeds everywhere on it. So let's discuss more about what the religion teaches versus what our crazies do. Let's go.
Do is a different story. Sometimes you have Muslim countries that do all kinds of things. For example, on a killing or this one or that one, or if you someone being beaten or something, you'll find some pictures or videos online. The right-wing people are putting videos and pictures of people doing things which are not in line with Islam.
Mhm.
For example, molesting women or sexual assault or something like that.
Oh, that's what. Yeah, because we had
Grooming and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, because that's what it was. You're reminding me because
Tommy Roberts.
Yeah, and then of course they say, "Oh, this is all Islam, so we got to get rid of Islam." But then when they do the same, like, well, what about Westboro Church? Oh no, they're not Christians, so they represent my faith. We say it's the same thing. You know, the double standards of hypocrisy come immediately become apparent when they try doing that.
yeah, because he was here the other day, and I think that's what he was talking about.
In Islam, a man is not.
Would you say that's a problem in Islam? And this isn't like a gotcha.
No. It's not. It really, because the thing is, in Islam, there's strict rules about how a man and woman should operate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for example, there's not allowed to be physical contact unless they're married.
Mm-hmm.
Any physical contact of any sort. So I find it hard to believe that a religion that says you're not allowed to have any physical contact, and you shouldn't look at the woman lustfully, for example, which is something in the New Testament and the Quran as well, that you should be respectful to the woman. Yeah, how can you go from a religion that says that very clearly in its primary text to justifying grooming somebody? So there is no causal link between what some people in the West may do, and we won't deny there are some people who do bad things, so Muslim people, you know, and what Islam. So you have to differentiate between Islam and Muslims, just like you have to differentiate between Christianity and Christians.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, Christian apologists won't. They refuse to. They guess they can't, because that's pretty much all they have left to attack the religion. So they have to stick to it. But if you try to attack them the same way, immediately become this whole, oh, it's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
So someone's strongest argument against Islam is, oh, there's grooming gangs in the West and people are coming here because they want to come and live here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why therefore Christianity is true.
So, but I'm just asking, is what he's saying true? Are there like
there is a woman called Elaine Cockbain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's a professor. I think she's written something about this. And what she had shown is that actually the grooming phenomena is not in fact disproportionate to Muslims and Asians. She considers it to be a problem, and also it's a problem with Westerners. It's not just like, you know, minority groups. Another problem that is very specific to Westerners, and I looked at the reports. There's one by the World Health Organization about stranger rape. Now, obviously, rape itself. I mean, the criterion of assessment of how do we agree with any woman without evidence? No, we don't. We have to have evidence for it. But for the sake of argument, the World Health Organization mentioned that stranger rape is actually more prominent in Western countries than it is in Islamic countries. Different kinds of rape, according to this report about sexual assault, is in fact more prominent in the Islamic countries than Western countries. But
well, of course, when you have such a difference of societal norms and everything, evil people are going to do evil. It's just going to look differently. It's going to have to, because, you know, things don't operate the same way. Things like, you know, all the different types of alcohol-related crimes, you won't see those that much in Muslim countries. But that doesn't mean that crimes don't show up. They'll just take a different form, because, you know, people are people, evil people will do evil. The shaitan is real.
According to this report, it's actually stranger rape is more.
So I guess the way that I would guess it, though, that's got to be because they call everything rape. And I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong, but like my mind immediately goes to the reason those stats are out of control in the West is because they call everything rape.
But then it should be commensurate with the other rape, because there's sexual assault of, like, for example, a close family member and stuff like that. That was lower in parts of the Western world as it was in other places. So there's no issue here of there's anonymity that get guaranteed. Do you know what I mean? In these reports, I'm not saying their reports are right or every claimant of rape is something which is true. But what I'm saying is that if we looked at the official and most strong statistics that we have, there's no evidence that Muslim people are more likely to commit sexual assault on women than any non-Muslim people.
I think it just goes up to the same amount. I mean, evil is evil. Evil will find a way to do evil. Evil will find a way to sin under. Just a different, has to take a different form because of laws, to circumvent the laws so they can sin can happen. Just doesn't mean it has to do anything to do with Islam or the faith.
I think, I'm trying to remember, he would say it's because it's covered up, right? I think that's what Tommy would say. Like, why does, I'm just curious. Like,
yeah, I mean,
because it's interesting because I'll talk to two people and they'll both, like, neither will seem to me to be liars, right? They'll both, like, they might be, I don't know.
Yeah,
like, I tend to like, people, but I'll talk to you. You seem smart. You seem like, you're telling me the truth.
I'm giving you references
Tommy,
as well, right?
Yeah. And Tommy, it's like a similar thing. And he'll also give like his references.
Look, there's a kernel of truth in what he says. Yeah, that's what makes it attractive.
So my question more is like, why do you think he thinks that? There
are instances where you find people from an Asian background and a Muslim background that are committing sexual assault on women who are white. That does happen in the West. It's happened in Germany. It's happened in the UK. Now, it's how you report on this issue.
Yeah, it happens in atheists, Hindus, Jews, Christians, Muslims. I mean, that's, rape is rape. Like, bad people are bad people. The shaitan is the shaitan. Christian doesn't mean Christianity is at fault. You know what I mean? It's just kind of a stupid way to think about it.
So, for example, if you were to say that this is something which comes back to Islam as a religion, I say to you, prove that, please, because in Islam as a religion, it's very strict on gender relations. In fact, that's one of the central criticisms of Islamic countries, that there's so much, it's so strict, a woman has to cover up. Why does a woman have to cover up? In the Quran, it says, the reason why is so that she doesn't get molested. So to prevent sexual assault. One of the reasons is to do that. So if the Quran is telling you this clearly, if this is in the basic precepts of the Quranic discourse, then it's where you make a causal link between Islam and this phenomena where the fallacy lies, because not every correlation is a causation. You're jumping from a correlation, which is not even a fair one, into a causation, and that analysis is flawed. Another thing I would say is, if you look at human trafficking, in this country they have the Slavery Act. If you look at the particulars of that particular act and see who are the victims, according to the study, of human trafficking, it's usually women from an ethnic background. And who are the perpetrators? A lot of the time, it's white men. So anyone can make a case about anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm going to say that just white people are the cause of it. No, it's just silly. It could be because where it was taking place, majority, if it's in a majority white area, then the stats are going to skew that way. It's just so silly when you put it in that way. You talk to people that want to put everything on Islam, and you have this, that, and this, that, and wait a minute, that doesn't look good, so let me change. And that's when it's silly.
If I dedicated my Twitter and my YouTube to looking at all the white perpetrators of sexual assault, putting a picture of them and saying this guy done this and this, he was convicted of that, that could be a full-time job for me. And then if I was to be even worse and say this is as a result of Christian teachings, someone say, what's that got to do with Christian teaching? It could be a Christian man,
exactly.
But that's nothing to do with Christian teaching. The Catholic Church is very famous for the priests molesting the boys. Well,
yeah, but if someone asked me like why, like people thought that the priests were molesters, I would say because like it happened,
Yeah.
like it wouldn't.
There's nothing in Christianity that says that's legitimate.
Correct. Like, but I would just say it's because like that happened.
Yeah, sure.
So I guess like, do you think it's more common in Islam or like from Muslim backgrounds? Or
I don't
do you think
so.
it's all made up?
I don't think either of those propositions are true. I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. Look, Islam is 1 out of 4 people in the world today. And
oh wow, that's high.
Yeah, in the world, right? And if we're talking about the end of the century, it'll be 1 out of 3 people. It will be the biggest. If the world was in front of you, and the population of the world is in front of you, 1 of every 3 people that you're going to meet in 2100, according to Pew Research, is going to be Muslim. So it's obviously when you have adherents of a faith that are that plentiful and numerous, you're going to have a disproportionately higher number of criminals in that number.
Okay, so your view is it's just there's a ton of people.
Yes,
and that's why like that.
No, I think it's.
I think he made this argument pretty well, especially when it comes to white people and human trafficking. It's stupid to say it's all white people. It's not, just because that statistics show that way. And even talking about when it happens, low-income areas. What do we have? A lot of problems on there. Accessibility. I think that's one of the reasons what happened in the Catholic Church was accessibility. And when the devil wants to be the devil, when Shaitan wants to do the Shaitan, wants to sin, that's what happens. That's just how it is. Alhamdulillah. So, we just keep asking for Allah for protection and for guidance.
It's a little bit more complicated than that. I think where you do find instances of criminality in the West by, say, people from countries that are Muslim, is usually to do with social class. That's my final analysis, in the sense that the number 1 predictor of criminality anywhere in the world, I think, is social class. A person who's rich has less reason to commit crimes than someone who's poor.
Okay.
Well,
the risk-reward ratio for them is less.
Well,
and so it just so happens in the UK, for reasons to do with the war and history after World War II, obviously Britain was a colony. It brought all these people that are blue-collar workers from Pakistan, from India, from all these different countries to work as blue-collar workers. They were working class here. So a lot of them, a large contingent, became criminals, not because of where they're from or what belief they have. It's just because of the conditions they had. That's why you'll find when I went to California in the United States of America, the United States of America had a completely different selection process when they were bringing people into the country. And in California, for example, the same people from the same countries, but they were middle class and now maybe even upper class professionals and so on, because America was much more careful as who comes in.
So,
now they are
more.
Yeah, no, maybe
they
I
just
don't
let
know.
everyone in now.
I don't think so. Now they become. It's very difficult for even us to go inside there.
And what I was saying earlier, social class, poor people, desperate people, they do, especially when they have a huge grounding on it, on their faith, and their faith is weak. That's going to happen. Whatever class and ethnicity is there, that's what's going to skew the numbers. Especially with these wars. I mean, you can tell wherever the wars are at, you're going to know which is going to be the statistics going to have the highest crime rate. As the migrations move, they tend to forget, their humanity, forget everything when they're struggling.
Legally, but no, freaking, even where I'm from, it's like there's like buses of people.
But on the issue of, because they don't have colonies in Pakistan and India and these countries in the Middle East. And so as a result of that, when they're bringing people in now, they had more selection. They weren't trying to rebuild the country.
So you think it's a class, like they're basically bringing in low class people. So they're getting low class.
So what they're getting is, when you have, what I'm saying is, we've always heard black people are criminals. It's because of the color of their skin. Race realists would say that. Some people would go as far as because of the color of their skin. Some would say it's because of their culture. Some would say that. I say the number 1 predictor is class.
Money.
Which is, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, or Arab, or from a Pakistani background, or whatever background you're. If you are working class, you are more likely to be engaged in criminality anywhere in the world. And the reason why I brought to your attention the case of the Pakistan is the same people with the same religion. Okay, but you put them in one place, they've got a different working class, so the risk-reward ratio for them is less. Therefore, they perform from a socioeconomic perspective much better. Another place, because England had a different set of economic reasons for bringing these people in.
Yep, as somebody who's been working class my whole life, yes, and not even that you're surrounded by it too, because it could be many things. Don't feel like we're ever going to get out of it. Don't feel like it's we're going to have the same advantages. We have the list. There's a list of excuses of why this, why that, and some people just don't care. It's all about me as well. So yeah, I think it definitely is more of a socio-economic problem than anything else on there. And then in some crimes almost dictate money. Poor person, sound weird, cannot afford a human trafficked person. I mean, rich would, because they attain such wealth, they have nothing else to spend it on. Especially if they have no grounding or any type of faith, or if they're into the whole Freemason Illuminati stuff. On there, what more can they indulge on, or more, and then they go into some out of this world type of sins. Alhamdulillah for Islam, alhamdulillah for the Quran, alhamdulillah for the Prophet. Peace and blessings be upon him. Let me know what you guys think. Subscribe, comment, like, and share. And until next time, assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
الحمد لله رب العالمين